Okay, let's get started. The last time we were here, we were talking about we were speaking about what our election system could be if done well, and we started this project for proving the concept. Okay, we are trying to prove a concept of what our electoral system could be if it was done well. So we built this voting system, this system that allows people to vote, and like I've always maintained and argued that the reason why we can have voting from home is because the people in the system doesn't just want it, not because it can be done. It's really possible and can be done. So in to prove that, we've kind of created this software, all right, that have different parts. We have the dashboard, we have the mobile app, we have just so many parts of the application. So in this live broadcast, we are going to be walking through all angle, showcasing what our electoral system could be, and thereby knocking off the misconception that hey, we can have a kind of electronic voting in real time. Okay, what we built, we've used Golang to build the back end. We are leveraging WebSocket for real timing. We have Flutter on the front end on the mobile app for voters points, and we also have the dashboard, which is written in React. So by the time we're done with this live broadcast, we should be getting the hang of what, again, our electoral system could be. Now, the process, just as we all know, the process starts from the umpire declaring declaring that they want to have an election. Okay, yeah, that's where it starts from. The umpire declares, oh, there's going to be an election. Then they start making preparation. Now, in this case, all right, the umpire happens to be, let's say INEC or any other body that wants to hold the election. Students, and if we get this right, by the time we're done this, we're going to open it so that people can use it to have their elections. Okay, so what you're looking at here is the dashboard. Then when you look at this area of the screen on my Android Studio, you will notice that there's a login here. Now, this is an app, okay, which the voters would use. This would be like your a voters kind of app, okay, where they cast their votes. And like I said in my last in the last broadcast we had, there's really no need to have a separate identity aside your NIN. So all these things, all these records, all these different IDs being given is just to cause more confusion. So this kind of further shows how confused we are as a country. Things can really work, but do we want it to work? That's the question everyone needs to kind of answer. So what you're looking at here is the app, all right? And if you look at this other form, this is the, I've kind of kept it simple. Now, the takeaway here is the logic behind this. We are not branding anything yet. You can see it's very skeletal. No fancy thing here. It's not, there's nothing fancy going on here. This is just a form for registration, and this one is for logging in once you've registered. All right. So the first part is, again, the umpire declaring. Now, if you look at this part I mentioned earlier, this is the dashboard. This is where the umpire will sit. You can see everything is simplified. When you log into the system the first time, what do you get to see? Okay, let me just log out so that I log in again. I'm logging in as an umpire. All right. So when I log in, what do I get to see? I see list of elections I've created in the past. Now, if you look at this particular one, okay, I just created this one. Now, how do you create one? You enter the title of the election, the start time, the start date and time, and the end date and time, then you create. Then when you drill down into any of them, you start going into the details of that election. Again, this is the dashboard end. Then we have the back end that runs everything. Okay. Now, we are going to play like a script. All right. I'm going to play a script. All right, I'm going to play a script. And what this script will do is to kind of walk us through the process so that we see how elections are done and what, again, our election could be. So, like I said, the process starts from the umpire, which is INEC, declaring that there will be an election. Then registration starts, parties get registered, Then voters get accredited, get registered and accredited. Those who are not registered in the first place would be we self-register, and when they self-register, what happens next is the umpire accredits them. So there's really no need for us to go into a long queue trying to stay under the sun just to have people, get people voting. Okay, so once an election has been declared that there will be an election, or the umpire have declared there will be an election, the next thing that happens is that the umpire invites people for registering. Now, people start registering, okay? Self-registering. Then after the registration is done, the umpires now kind of accredits those registered voters. Then the next thing that happens is the voting starts. So again, we are going to declare an election. Okay. Now I'm declaring an election. There's going to be an election, and we are going to call it a test election. So I'm typing it here, test election. All right. Then this election starts today, and it's going to run through. It's going to run till tomorrow. So it ends tomorrow. It starts today and ends. It starts, sorry, and ends tomorrow. Okay. So I'll create this election. Now, if you can see, the election has been created, test election. Now, when I go deep in here, this is a simplified dashboard. This is where the whole thing starts. Okay, I'm going to copy this and you'll put it on a separate tab so that I can reference it later. Okay. Now, this is the dashboard of the election, and the ID of this election is 6. We are keeping everything simple. Last time we presented this, it was just very skeletal. There was nothing fancy going on. It was just very, very skeletal. We ran everything mostly from Postman and CMD. But now that engine now have an interface. So as time goes on, we keep on like enhancing. You can see it's still very skeletal. Now this is the live result. This is if people are casting vote, these numbers react in real time without you refreshing this. Okay. Then if you look at the sidebar of this app, this dashboard, you notice there's a party, there's a tab called parties, then voters, then you have the election. Don't bother about you have the result. Don't bother about the results. We've not computed that. All right. But the key thing we are trying to make known here is how secure systems like this can be and how doable they are. Now, after this umpire have created the election, people have started registering. Okay, we don't care about that now. They're registering. Then the next thing, again, parties will, of course, register. All right, you're registering parties for this election. Let's say people come register, and let's say All Progressive Congress registers as APC. Okay, we are keeping everything simple. You can see we are not collecting verbose information. Keeping everything simple. If this kind of gets certified somewhere and want to be used, other information, of course, will be added. So I'm going to do African Democratic Congress. Okay, that was ADC. Okay, so we register the second party, then we go People's Democratic PDP, right? People's Democratic what? Party. Oh, okay. I forgot that for a minute. So that was PDP. Okay. Now, these are the parties that are going to be participating in this election. They've been identified. Now, voters will now start registering too. All right. If you look at here, these are pre-registered voters. Voters that have registered, but they've not been accredited for this election. If you look at here, this is me. All right. Now, I'm going to register one more voter. Okay. I'm going to register one more voter. And let me switch to my app screen. Okay. I'm registering a voter. This is a voter now on his or her bedroom somewhere. All right. These things can really further be tightened. But again, this is a voter who have gotten this app. All right. Then they go register. Like I said, There's no need for us to have IDs, voters ID. No, we don't need to have that. Our NIN is just enough. All right. Then, if this were to be built by the government, they have a database that holds the NIN. So at the point when you're registering, the system first checks, okay, is this a valid NIN? Now I'm going to come up with an NIN. Let me just say NIN. Just put this here and say 1, 2, 3. Okay, of course, this is a fake 3, 4. Okay, this is a fake NIN. So when I enter this, what happens is that if this were to be owned by a government, then we check this against the database to be sure that that NIN actually exists. If it doesn't, then we bounce the person. But hey, you're keeping everything simple. We are assuming that NIN exists, okay? So we enter a test user. Let's call it test Kingsley. Let's call it test Kingsley. Okay. All right. Then we enter email. Email needs to be valid. We call it test Kings. Text, Kingsley at gmail.com. We are not doing any validations for now. We're not doing any verification. We are just racing towards the mechanics of what an electronic voting would look like. Then I do my password. Okay, password we do test. All right. Let me just make it simple. Then we do test again here to confirm. That's 1, 2, 3. So then we register. If everything goes well, okay. Now I've forgotten what I registered as the NIN. Then I will check that on the database. I remember the password. So now this user have registered. Okay. Now the umpires would get it here. If they refresh, okay, if they refresh, the Kingsley now exists here. Okay, this person have registered, but have not been accredited for this particular election. Okay, the election 6 that is happening, that these parties here are participating in. Okay, this person have not been accredited. Oh, now what the umpire does is, again, however they want to do it, if this were to be owned by government, to make the process very streamlined and easy, what they have to do is you show up in their office or wherever you want to show up, or they just look at this. Okay, they pick it up, and this calls up your government holding information, such as the NIN. He pulls it up and displays it somewhere, around this area. Those are things that are very possible, very practical, not theory. All right, you show that then the person vetting looks. If the person is good with it, what the person does is that the person accredits and he lands here. Again, we are keeping everything simple. Voter accredited successfully. Then the next thing we want to do, we accredit everyone else. Oh, and for those who care to know, that's the name of my son. He was just born a few days ago, which kind of like delayed the second part of this video. I've been busy. So he's now a voter, all right? Though in real life, that can happen because he's not 18 yet. So I'm using that as a test user. Then we accredit 2 people. Now we have the first voter and the second voter. We can go on and accredit everyone here. Okay, we keep accrediting. Now, what happens is whoever has been accredited are those who would participate in this election 6. So after the umpire is done accrediting these people for this election, then what happens? The election is time bound. Okay, it's time bound. It starts at a particular time and ends at a particular time. Okay, if you vote outside those windows, it won't go. Okay, except the time is extended. And guess what? Extension of that time is not a walk in the park. You can't just do an extra update. Oh, update and extend the time and it just works that way. No, it doesn't, because there are so many hashing and cryptography going on here to ensure that the whole thing is tamper-proof. Okay, so just as I mentioned in the last session we had, okay, if you look at here, we have different tables doing all good things. We have the ballot chain, we have the ballots itself, we have the elections, we have the parties, we have the tokens, we have the umpires. umpires, we have the voter elections, we have the voters, we have the voting session. Okay, now starting from the top, the ballots, what you see in the ballot chain, that kind of like it gives you this kind of a chain, all right, where if people are voting, as people are voting, like it's kind of like kept in a sequential order in a way that the next cannot exist if the previous isn't there. So there won't be anything like somebody going back in the chain to tamper with the election, with the results. The system will flag it and probably mark it as corrupt. In fact, it's practically not possible. So it goes in chain, and then as people are voting, the chains are building, which we would use later in verification of votes. Okay, now there are many people don't. There are things many people don't know about election systems. Okay, electoral systems are very, very tricky. Sometimes if it's not done well, or if it's not done by a transparent organization, they may think the reason why these things are hidden is because those people want to like use that to manipulate. But that's not always the case. There are reasons why you can't even have, even if you can do that, you can't have the real-time voting counting by parties. I mentioned that in the last broadcast. Okay, you can't show that real-time result. Oh, PDP is having this particular number. No, that can really get heated and it can really destabilize the country. So as a result, many voting systems don't do that. They can just give you count of votes. Okay, nobody knows the result until voting is done. Then result comes out. All right, and you can't really argue and say, oh, it was tamper, because there are so many tamper-proof systems in place. Okay, there are so many anti-tampering systems in place, such as the hashing, the chains, there's what we call Marco tree. Maybe in the next broadcast, we'll be going deep into that Marco tree. Marco tree is when you vote as a voter, your vote can be verified. You can know at what point you voted and the position of your vote in that tree. See a Marco tree as a tree, a very large tree with so many leaves. All right, every leaf in that tree is accounted for. Okay, you've casted your vote. Your vote is one of the leaf. At any given time, you can run a verification to locate your leaf exactly where you put that leaf vote. That's what microtree is. So that will not give you like a receipt of your vote without exposing which party you voted for. In your mind, in your heart, you know the party you voted for, and the moment you voted, all that information was collected and hashed. So you get a receipt that your vote was actually casted and it was counted. Okay. Now, based on that hashing, but what you can't get as a receipt is which party you voted for, because if you do that, then you will be promoting vote buying, because whoever wants to buy your vote would say, oh, provide me a receipt that you voted for me so that I can pay you. So the fact that you can't even provide the receipt of who you voted for, it's just your word again. Oh, I voted for you, but you can't prove it. But deep down in your heart, you voted for who you voted, but it's in the hash. But you yourself, you are not allowed to have it. You just have the hash that you voted. And whoever you voted for still stays in your mind. Nobody knows. Okay, that's the beauty of this hashing. Now that we have enough of the talk, anyways. So now that we have accredited these users, we have created an election, accredited users. Some users have signed up. Now the next part is voting. That's the tricky part. That's the part that everybody's scared of. The point where you cast vote and what happens. Now, the thing about voting system is that we want to protect people. Okay? We want to make it anonymous. A user should not be tied to their vote. A user is an entity. Vote is an entity. Now, at the point of this accreditation, you've been accredited that you will vote in this election. That's all it has to be. Then, when it's now time for you to vote, I will switch to the app now. When it's time for you to vote, right? You paste in your, okay, I don't think I have that. Let me get it here. You paste in your login details. I guess this is mine. All right, NIN 1234. Okay. You enter your NIN, 1, 2, 3, 4. Then you enter your password. I guess we entered this, and that's what we did. Then we log in. The moment you log in into your system, you will be able to see the list of elections you've been accredited to vote in. That we pile up here in the ongoing, and for an election to come up here, you need to have been credited to participate in that election. You also need to have, the election needs to be active. That's currently running. It's not passed yet. Yeah. So if that has been done, then you see the election in your interface. You can see we have made this very simple. We are nothing fancy is going on here, so that we knock off the confusion and ensure that everybody participates. Then when you see your election, the next thing you want to do is that you want to vote in it. So you open it. Then it gives you this summary. Other things can be added, because you are about starting a voting, the most delicate part of the system, and it's time-based. So it says once you start voting, you must complete it within the session time. You can only vote once. Ensure you select the correct party before submitting. Election test. The election name is test election. Starts at this time and ends at the second time. So after a user have seen this, users can come here, go, as long as they are within that election validity. But the moment they start voting, when you click the start voting, you will be issued a token, a one-time token, and a session, a window that opens for just 10 minutes will be open. Meaning, if you don't get to cast your vote within that 10 minutes, within that window time, then, yeah, that's your own cup of tea. You must, once that window opens for 10 minutes, you see a countdown, okay? You must cast your vote. 10 minutes is enough time for you to cast your vote. And it's not a rocket science right there. The parties are outlined there. You just have to select one person. So whatever will make you not cast your vote at that point in time, maybe when something like it comes in place, they may put a kind of reset button, but I don't know why anybody would do that. So the moment you click start voting, okay, notice what happened. All right. I'm going to just shrink this a little bit so that just put it on side. Okay, so that we see the dashboard. Okay, we go to the dashboard so we see these live results. All right. Now, just take a look at the left side of my screen. That's where the election is. Now, you are here. Look at the time here. Look at the time. It's saying session expires in 10 minutes. The moment the session has opened, you must vote within that 10 minutes. If you don't vote within that 10 minutes, then the window closes. You are done for the year. The next time you get a chance of doing that is maybe the next election. But again, if we can have things like this, then whoever emerges as a winner will be respected because the person has earned it. But again, we can't have something like this, not in our wildest dream. Anyways, let's keep on dreaming our malaria dream. So the user comes in here, sees all the parties that are participating, and they choose their person. Me, I want to vote. Okay, let me vote APC. All right. All right. So picking APC, I click vote. Okay. I've made up my mind. I've chosen my party. Then I voted. Now, guess what happened? If you notice what happened at the right side of my screen, you notice there was a real-time counting. It came in. All right. And right here, it showed votes submitted. Okay. The vote was submitted here. Right? I'm coming back here. But guess what will happen here? I didn't refresh this. That's WebSockets in play. And it can really get very, very better on Suite. You can see real-time result. People can be pushing in votes. You just see the numbers going up high, high and high and high. I've just put the parties here, the party ID here, just for the sake of this presentation. Okay, in a real world scenario, you just get total votes of total number of people voting. You don't have any. I think my audio went off. Okay. So for the sake of this, I've just made it this way. All right. But in a real voting, you don't count the vote in real time you don't sort the votes. You allow all the numbers to come in, then you process it, because the algorithm that processes this kind of result needs to be very, very secure, and that's already going. I've written it, but maybe in my next presentation, I'll be bringing that out. Okay, where you see how it's processed. Then the Markov tree will be processed. Okay, then the moment you have casted your vote, and with the Markov tree, the system will go and plug that Markov tree wherever you are in that Markov tree, your position. The system will plug the address of that position, okay, which gives you this verification. Okay, once the system returns it, that's your receipt. At any time, okay, if we get this right and document the database of these elections, we can at any time go back. I can just decide, say, okay, let me even verify and be sure that at some point the election was not tampered with. My last voting was not tampered with. I can go back in time, like go there and query using my Markov tree address, I'll query if my vote was counted. And that Markov tree also allows you to know if your vote was actually counted in what was used to declare someone a winner. Okay, so that's it. There, we come back to that. Now, if you look at here, you can see the session is still open. The session now, what most people may ask, you can still vote again. You can't vote again. If I try to click this, you can see fail to cast vote. I'm keeping everything simple. I'm not giving detailed information. But what happened here, if you notice the toast right there in the bottom, what happened here is that the system checked to see if I've casted vote before, if I've been given a token before, and hey, you have voted before, so why do you want to vote again? We can't allow that. You have casted your vote, you already have your receipt, your Markov tree receipt, so why do you want to vote again? So the system will, no matter how you try, you can't vote again using that same token you've been given. And remember, the way we have designed the token, you don't know the token, meaning you can't generate the token and sell it. You can't. You see, that window, that 10 minutes window, for every token, for every session token generated, they have 10 minutes validity. Okay, 10-minute validity. You can't go beyond that. Okay, so that within that time, your token, which was issued to you, is mapped to the device, encrypted encrypted and stored in a secure storage with about 3 layers of encryption. Yeah, so you have the token, but you don't know the token. You can't retrieve it. You can't collect it and go and sell and give it to someone. Even if the person gets it, where are they going to put it? So the token has been given to you. The only thing you have to do with that token is to choose your party and vote and go. There's nothing else you can do with that token. You don't even know the token, but a token was issued. And that token can only allow you cast one vote. And you are done for that election. Now, this is the admin part and the voters part. Now there is the public part and also the press part, the observers part, those who want to pull the data and analyze themselves and be sure, that this was actually done right. Okay, this is, again, is the admin part. The other one is the voters part. Everything is simple. There's another part, like I said, the public part. Okay, what that part does is just what it does is it just shows the public, like you can tune into that. You don't have to log in. You can just log into that page. It's a public page on election day that will probably be live. You just go there, watch it like TV. You just see election numbers counting, going up, statistics and all that. It will be a public kind of knowledge. All right. So I'm going to spin that up now. Then we wrap up on that. So I will. What's it called again? I think we called it Votes UI. Votes UI. So npm run dev. So if this guy runs, if you go here, like I said, it is very simple. It should be very simple, anyways. Don't know why it didn't come up. I don't know why. Okay, so this part, this is what this part does. I guess something have changed because while this was what came up first. Okay, I am having. Okay, I get now. So this part will be. I'll go get it fixed. I don't want to code right here on this session. Okay, and maybe in the next one we just see. So what this part does is that it shows all election list of different elections that will be held. So just as we have it here, okay, where you see list of elections, okay, where you see list of elections on the admin end, okay, you will come here too, you will see list of election. This is like the public portal. It's not even a portal, like you don't have to log in, you just go there, you see the election you want to speculate, you just open it as you did in this one, then you just open it, then you get to see the real-time stuff. So transparency, security, everything jumbled together. That is what our electoral system could be. But what do we have compared to this? The truth is that, except we're just like deceiving ourselves, telling ourselves that from this kind of, from the current kind of electoral system we have, that we are going to somehow have a free and fair election. It can't happen. It can't happen. And those crying the level free playing ground is not the playing ground is not leveled. I think they should just see. The truth is that the current system we have allows manipulation. So I would argue that manipulation is part of the game in this one, because Nigeria is big, and don't be deceived. Nigerians are smart. The president is very smart. All right. Someone that have gotten to that age cannot be a dummy. He's a very smart man, and many of them are in that at that level, very smart. So there is no how you can say that they can't do it, or you can't just say that they lack the ability to do it. It's not possible. So it's part of the system. It's part of the system. It's part of the rule. So that's why if you have ever had a heated argument with an APC person, when you are shouting, "Oh, Obi was rigged," and all that, if you ever had, and they're telling you how, can you, try to see them from where they're coming from. It's part of the game. So as long as the current system we have allows that, then there's nothing you can do. Let's just do what they are doing and let the biggest rigger win. But if you want to get it right, if the objective is to get it right, believe me, systems like what I just showed now will not even pass the test of being an electoral system, because we go full blockchain. You go full blockchain, nobody will be able to tamper with it. Though this is what we've come up with, no one can be able to tamper with. Even the token that is being issued by the server does not even know the token. The umpire does not know the token. Nobody knows the token. The voter does not know the token, but what we know is that we have a token, a token that has been hashed with different values together. Okay? We have a token that has been hashed with different values together. That's what we have. And that token is useful without it being exposed to people participating in that process. So again, the last session we did about 30 minutes. I think it's about time we also round up this one. We've done almost 38 minutes. And yeah, I think we should wrap it up at this. For those who joined us today, thank you very much. And the next one, hopefully, we'll be hosting, because everything that we had today run on my local system. So we are going to push that out to the public. Probably create a fake election where we put VDM and who and this person who is better, everyone should go and vote and all that. Let's look at that. And also, like I mentioned in the last broadcast, we are inviting hackers. If you know you can break things, you are good at breaking things, you are welcome. Here, you are, when we publish it out there put it on the server, we are going to give you a full access. Okay, hack it down. That's what we want to do. The best way of securing something is by going offensive. You have to attack it. So we're going to put it out there for people to attack. Whoever can cast a vote without going through the process, somehow find a backdoor and cast a vote for a candidate, that may even be a reward for the person. I'm partnering with some people that would give that bounty. Okay, we are going to put bounties. Cast a vote to a candidate without passing through the process. Let's see how that is even possible. All right. Once again, thanks for coming around, and God bless you all. Bye.